Hello, my name is Sarah Jo Jones and I'm the Carroll County 4-H Extension Agent. This presentation is to help students and their parents to prepare for their 4-H presentations project. If you have any more information after this presentation is over, please feel free to give me a call. My number is 276-730-3110, or you can email me at shelms07@bt.edu. So there are two types of 4-H presentations. There's the how-to, which is the more common. This is a demonstration with a completed product at the end. Then we have an illustrated talk, where you discuss the topic with no demonstration. The way I explain this is it's basically show and tell, but with a poster. This is going to be important because in just a moment we're going to talk about each part of the project, where you begin, and the first thing you need to do is pick a topic. Once you've picked your topic, you'll know whether you're doing a how-to or an illustrated talk. So, as I said, the first thing you're going to do is to pick a topic. The second thing is you're going to do some research on that topic. The topic you choose should be something that you enjoy learning about, or that you would like to learn more about and haven't done the research before. So this gives you a great opportunity to learn something new. Make sure that the research you do is credible resources. So Wikipedia is a great place to start, but not usually the most accurate. So you want to try to visit websites that have a .org or .edu or .gov ending. Most often those are the best credible sources. Blogs and personal websites are great places to start, but definitely not where you want to get your bulk of your information. Once you've done your research, you're going to create an outline. Now I'm going to show you an example of what goes in there, but an outline is just a guide of what goes on the poster, what you're going to say, and what you're going to do. Then you're going to make your poster or posters. You have two options. You can do a science board, or you can do the traditional 4-half poster method. And I'm going to show you an example of both so that you can see the differences. Then you're going to gather your visual aids. For the how-to, this is going to be all of your props to make your product, whatever it may be. Remember, you can't bring anything to school that's against school rules. So no weapons and no live animals. You also want to think about any food allergens that your class may have or other non-food allergens. So please be careful and mindful of those things when you're making your decision about your topic. Then you're going to decide how to dress. You have two options. You can dress professionally or the best that you can, whatever your best may be, or you can dress for the topic. So for instance, if you're playing basketball and showing us how to play basketball, you could wear your basketball uniform. Totally acceptable. Creativity is encouraged, especially when it comes to dress and your visual aids. Then, once you have everything together, you're going to practice. Practice, practice, practice. The first time you deliver your presentation should not be the day that the project is due. So, let's look at these a little more in depth. The first thing is we're going to talk about topics. You have 7 major categories that we place all of our topics in. This is important for if you move on to the next level of competition, because not only is this going to be for grade, but it's a contest within your classroom. The best in the class will be invited to our county level competition that will take place on December 6th. If you're picked, you'll be given the information about that closer to the event, and your presentation will be placed in one of these subcategories. So as you can see, there are tons of subcategories. So don't worry so much about where your project fits in. That's something I have to figure out. But if you're having trouble coming up with an idea, looking at these topics might give you an idea of something to do. I also am going to be giving every teacher a 34-page packet of ideas for these presentations. Pinterest is a great place to go and get ideas, as well as Googling 4-H presentations. You'll be surprised at the information you can find. There are some things, though, that I would rather you not do. For instance, volcanoes and Mentos geysers. They are great and fun science demonstrations, and I enjoy doing them myself. However, we've kind of lost the purpose of those over the years. People don't really explain what the chemical reaction is, and it just makes a big mess in the classrooms. So I would prefer that you not do one of those experiments. Also remember, no weapons or live animals are allowed in schools, and make sure that you're taking special consideration for any peanuts or other food allergies or non-food allergies. So I just go ahead and say no peanuts at all. That includes peanut butter, unfortunately. You can still do projects that have peanut butter in them, just don't bring them to school. So think about that. Alright, so let's now talk about the outline. So this is where you're going to talk about you're going to write what is going on your poster or posters. You're going to write down what you're going to say for each part of your presentation and what you're going to be doing. So I have an example here for you. For the first poster, your first poster, whether you're doing a how-to or an illustrated talk, is going to be your introductory poster. On here, you're going to put your title, your name, your age, and your school. So, for example, you would say, "Hello, my name is Sarah Jo Jones. I am 27 years old and I'm in the 4th grade at Carroll County Elementary School. Today, I would like to help you answer the question, what is a hoagie? Did you know the word hoagie is not actually referring to a turkey?" That would be your introduction. Once you finish saying that, you would move to the next poster. So for this one, because it's more of an illustrated talk for this one, I'm not going to necessarily be doing any type of demonstration, but I wanted to give myself some notes of things to remember to do while I'm on that poster. So make eye contact, smile, speak loudly and clearly, make sure I'm standing still, those kinds of things. So you can give yourself some notes in your outline. So now what goes on your posters? Here you have two different options that I've outlined for you. We have on the left the science board poster layout. So this is the trifold posters, and this is not an exact way that it needs to be done, but this is just the best way to follow the different parts, because you have your first part, which is the introduction, whether you're doing a how-to or an illustrative talk. The second part for a how-to is going to be your materials. For an illustrated talk, it's the background. So you want that to be the first thing. If you're reading left to right, you want that to be the first thing on your left panel at the top. Then the next part for a how-to is going to be your procedure, or the steps. And then for an illustrated talk, it's going to be the facts, the more detailed information about your topic. So again, we're going left to right here. You would put that directly underneath your materials and background, and then come over to the right-hand panel to put your procedure and facts. Then every presentation, regardless of how-to or illustrated talk, is going to have a summary. So you want to put your summary at the end. The center is where you'll put your title and your name, age, and school. And then if you have any like pictures or charts that you want to draw special attention to, that's a great place to put those. I encourage you to use pictures and charts throughout your presentation. It's a great visual, and it's a whole lot easier on the eyes than a lot of little words. So think about, that you want to make your posters visually pleasing. It is a visual aid. I don't want to be able to read your entire presentation off the poster. So keep that in mind when you're putting your posters together. Okay, so that's the science board layout. With the floor poster method, you're going to take two full-size posters and cut them in half. Normally a full-size poster is 28 inches, so you would need two 14-inch half posters width-wise. Alright, and so here again we have poster 1. You have your title, your name, age, and school. Poster 2 is going to be your materials or your background. Poster 3 is going to be your procedure and facts, and poster 4 is going to be your summary. There are some advantages and disadvantages to both. With the science board, I like this because you don't have to switch between posters and you can just leave it set up. Unfortunately, it makes it really difficult to refer to your poster when you're presenting, because you have a tendency to want to stand behind the big poster board, and I'd rather you stand to one side. So that's one of the advantages and disadvantages. Plus, they're more expensive. The other part with the 4 poster layout, I like this because it's very clear what part of the presentation you're moving to, because you change posters. But the fact that you're changing posters means that you really have to practice that, because if your posters get out of order, or if you drop a poster while you're doing your speech, that can really throw you off and kind of throw off your groove. So you got some things to think about, but either one are allowed. And just make sure that whatever you choose, that it looks neat. I really encourage you to do computer printouts. Hand drawn is fine and it's absolutely allowed, but it needs to be neat. Also, no neon colors whatsoever. Neon colors are really hard to read, and you want to make sure that your font sizes are big. I say a minimum of 48 inches, and that, or 48 point font rather, that ends up being about 1 inch printed. For your general information, for headings, I would suggest 3 inches, and your title needs to be very big and easy to read. So stand 6 to 10 feet away from your poster and ask yourself, can you really read what is on there? If not, then you need to redo it. Colors allowed, red, black, purple, things like that, that's fine. But just make sure that it's not so neon and distracting that it takes away from the poster. Okay? So, here's a little more of a breakdown about each poster. So this is what's going to go on the posters and what you're going to be saying depending on the type of presentation you're doing. So whether you're doing a how-to or an illustrated talk, the first poster is going to be your introduction. So you'll state your name, your age, your school, and the title of your presentation, and then tell us why you chose this topic. That's something that we really want to know is why did you choose this topic and what do you hope to learn? Then you're going to add an attention-grabbing line. This can be a question or an interesting fact. It's just something to kind of pique everybody's interest and get them really interested in what you're talking about. The poster should have your title, your name, your age, and your school listed on the poster. Okay? So then we move on to the second poster, or the second part. If you were doing the science board, ignore poster 1, poster 2. It would just be the next part on your poster, and this is going to be the order that you present the information. So the second part, if you're doing a how-to, is going to be your materials needed. Pick them up as you list them or point to pictures. Don't just rattle them off. Take a little bit of time to show us those materials. If you're doing an illustrative talk, you're going to be doing a background. So you want to give a little general history, some general information about your topic, and it should take about a minute or so for both of these. Okay? Then we have the third part. If you're doing a how-to, this is going to be your procedure. So this is where you would actually do your demonstration. So if you were showing us how to make a rope bowl, for instance, you can use rope to make a bowl. So if you're going to show us how to do that, you would demonstrate that for us. Now remember, your topic or your presentation cannot be longer than 5 minutes. We're looking for 3 to 5 minutes. So you may need to prepare parts of your demonstration ahead of time. Watch cooking shows for some ideas on how to do this, because they're not going to always be able to do every part of the recipe in front of you. So they may go ahead and have some things prepared ahead of time. And that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you have everything laid out, easy to get to and easy to see before you begin. That makes your demonstration flow a whole lot smoother. An illustrative talk, this is where you're going to be telling us some more fascinating facts. Show us some pictures, show us some more detailed information. You may have an artifact that you want to show us. So if you were doing a presentation about a country and you had something from that country you wanted to show, you could do that at that time. Or maybe you're going to talk about the history of music and you want to play us a little snippet of some music from a specific genre of music. That's a great time to do that. Okay? Then the fourth poster, or the fourth part, is going to be your summary. This is very important. Please don't forget it, because this is worth a lot of points on your score sheet or in your grade. This is where you're briefly going to recap some of your main ideas. So, if you were telling us about the history of 4-H, you would say, 4-H started in 1904 as a result of the Boys and Girls Clubs and Tomato and Corn Clubs and things like that. You might talk to us about how old 4-H is now, and just some brief recaps of the main points. If you're doing a how-to, this is a great opportunity to revisit some of those helpful hints through your project. Maybe you talk about safety, you remember to use the eggs at room temperature. It depends on what you're doing. Just give us some helpful hints. And then always tell us what you have learned. So at the beginning, you're going to tell us why you chose this topic. And then our whole hope through this project is that you're going to have learned something really cool at the end of it. So please tell us what you've learned. And then at the very end, when you're finished, you're going to say, thank you for your time. Are there any questions? Your teachers or your judges, depending on which part of the competition you're at or the project you're at, are going to ask you some questions. This is where the research is really important, because if you're asked a question that you don't know the answer to, and you tell us something that's not true, we're probably going to know, because most often the questions that we ask you, we already know the answer to. So really think about some different things. Make sure you cover as much as you can in the time you have and be thorough and clear with what you're doing, and do some research that will help you with answering these questions. And if you follow this outline and the guidelines that are given to you, it's going to be really hard for your judges to come up with any off-the-wall questions. You'll know exactly how to answer them. All right? So, again, how long does this have to be? Now, when I said it was 3 to 5 minutes, I was thinking in the 4th or 5th grade, because these are the ones who usually do this in school. But if you are in 6th and 7th grade, then this is going to be a 5 to 10 minute presentation. And if you are a senior age or 8th to 12th grade, then your presentation is going to be 10 to 15 minutes. At this point, I want to talk about PowerPoint. You know, obviously this is a PowerPoint, but we want posters. That's why it has been shown to you as posters for junior and intermediate age. So that's 4th through 7th grade. If you're in the senior age division, we do allow PowerPoints. You follow the same method, basically, but you're going to go into a lot more detailed information, and the topics are a little bit different for that age group. So this presentation is more specifically for those 4th to 7th graders that may be participating in this project. Alright, so let's go over some tips. So biggest pet peeve I have, PowerPoint presentation or posters, is please do not put everything you're going to say on your poster or slides. They are meant to be visual aids. As you will have noticed throughout this presentation, I have not put everything I'm going to say on the slides. The reason why is because I can read. If I wanted to read your presentation, I would just read it. But a presentation has an oral component to it, and that's what we're really looking at, is how can you stand and deliver information in front of a group. So please do not put everything on your poster so that you don't have a tendency to read it to us. Again, do not use neon colored posters. Preference is white or black, but creativity is encouraged. Minimum font size should be 48. This is about 1-inch lettering for content. For headings, I would suggest 3 inches when it is on the poster. Use printed information if at all possible. Handwritten is allowed, but needs to be neat. And use easy to read fonts and no neon colors on anything. It's really hard to read that. So here are some tips for presenting. Dress as nice as you can or for the topic. Your hair should be combed and out of your face, especially girls, because one of the nervous habits we all tend to have is to put our hair behind our ears while we're talking. So anytime you can keep your hands off your face and keep them down either behind you or in front of you or doing your demonstration, the less distracting you'll be to those who are watching it. Make sure that you speak up. The person in the back of the room should be able to hear you just as good as the person in the front. Make eye contact with your audience and with your judges. This shows us that you've practiced and that you know exactly what you're going to say. Stand still. We all have a tendency to rock or to move around or to kick our feet while we're doing our presentation. So if you stand still, it's a lot less distracting and you'll feel more comfortable. And breathe. You wouldn't believe how many people will actually hold their breath the whole 3 to 5 minutes that they're doing a presentation. So take a big deep breath before you even begin, and it'll help you to go slower and not speed through your project, and you'll feel a whole lot more at ease. And practice, practice, practice. I can't say that enough. Here are some more of the frequently asked questions that I get. When is this due? Well, each teacher sets their own class due dates. The county contest will be held on December 6th for the top students. So the way it works is each class in 4th and 5th grade and 6th and 7th grade are allowed to send 2 representatives per class, or multiply that by the number of classes you have at the school, and you can send that many representatives for your school. So for instance, Gladesboro Elementary has 1 4th grade and 1 5th grade, so you have 4 representatives. Just an example. The next question I get is, do I have to do this? This project covers multiple SOLs and is used for a class grade. Unless your teacher states otherwise, yes. Can I work with a partner? No, this is an individual project. However, partners are great for practicing and working together on your own projects. So if you are having some trouble coming up with ideas, or if you want somebody to bounce to practice off of, working with partners is a great idea. It's a little less intimidating working with a friend than presenting in front of your parents all the time. And do you have to go to the county contest? If you're chosen, you do not have to go. But please tell your teachers so that others could go in your place. If you are selected as the winner of your category at the county level, there is another level. It's the last one, and we call it area. And that's where you actually compete against 4th through 7th graders from 5 other counties. It's a really big honor to be asked to go. And then there's no other level beyond area. That's the highest you can go. Well, thank you for your time, and are there any questions? If you have more questions about how to do this presentation that weren't answered for you, please check out our Facebook page, because I will be recording a video for each type of presentation. I'm going to show you an example of how to present and what the poster should look like. So you'll be able to find the links to those videos on our Facebook page as well. And remember, you can email me or call me. Again, my name is Sarah Jo Jones, and I really hope that this has been a big help to you, and look forward to seeing what presentations the kids put together. So thank you very much.